So, Worldslayer is live, both the early access and now full launch versions. First day jitters and connection problems were, again, a thing. New players are joining the Outriders ranks every minute, and the end-game Arbiter boss body count is quickly mounting. So everything's good with the world, right? Well, not exactly. And my hesitation to drop an emphatic yes stems from the fact that veteran and rookie players alike are still making some pretty colossal mistakes, not gonna lie here, me included, and this is really gonna slow down our progress. What's going on, everybody? It's Buzz, and I'm back with another Outriders video, and today we are going to concentrate on some testing that I did in different areas of the game that are going to keep us from making those self-inflicted errors. In case you aren't yet a sub, please smash that big, beautiful subscribe button, and while you're at it, take a few seconds more to hit the bell icon to receive all my future upload notification alerts. Prior to Worldslayer, we had some pretty tried and true methods for farming, and I posted numerous videos outlining each of those strats. But since this new expansion dropped, I have been hearing some chatter about great ways to farm for XP and loot, and yeah, ultimately, after you finish your 3 to 4 hours in the new campaign, that's exactly what you'll be doing. Farming for XP and loot. And just to clarify mechanic with the new expansion, with the introduction of Apocalypse tiered gear and weaponry, the dev team has essentially installed a full-on gear wipe into the live game. Sure, it looks fancy and has a bunch of bolted-on progression systems, but at its heart, it's a gear wipe. And that means you're going to have to refarm your entire builds from scratch, because now, if it's not Apoc gear, it's meaningless. What makes Apoc tier so damn good is really an easy answer. It has 3 mod slots on each piece of gear, and the third mod can roll randomly, and it could be a tier 3 mod. We are now able to move from the 16 total mods we had pre-Worldslayer, spread over all 3 weapons and 5 gear pieces, and now we're adding on another 50% more mods, taking us up to a total of 24. There's also a ton of new mods to farm and acquire for our libraries, and hunting down those perfect gear versions with all the right attributes and mods is again what we are chasing. So, we are again hitting the grind for XP to increase our Apoc tiers, which means we will be able to use and equip higher and higher gear score items, and we are on the hunt for that gear, which means we need access to mass amounts of loot drops, and we want to farm them as efficiently as possible. So let's dive right in. And one previous method for crushing out quick XP gains used to be to pick a specific monster from the monster hunts and farm that monster over and over. Now, Wendigo was especially easy, as his bones to start the hunt and his lair are literally within feet of each other, so there's very little travel time. Now, during the base game, I was able to continually farm Wendigo from World Tier 14 up to 15, and I gained that World Tier in just over something like 20 minutes. So it was a great place and method to grab quick XP. But that was pre-Worldslayer. How about now? Sadly, this method is now toast. Even when I kept my Apoc tier, which are what world tiers became for Worldslayer, anyways, leaving them on the highest I had unlocked, level 24 during the time of this recording, using that old method and attempting to farm Wendigo for XP gave me literally nothing. I hit him back to back 5 times in a row, using the old method of killing everything in the encounter save one monster, returning to the lobby, and then just rejoining my same game. Shockingly, it still places you back in the beginning of the encounter, so they've changed nothing, and anyways, you can just run right back in and rinse and repeat. Looking back on my recordings, my XP bar does go up, but it requires a magnifying glass to see the results. Apoc tiered loot, you know, the loot you really want, rarely drop for me, but hey, I did get a non-Apoc Mask of the Cannibal to drop, so, you know, it wasn't entirely uneventful. And I truthfully expected more to happen when hitting the open world game on tier 24. Now, a note to anyone at People Can Fly, if you do see this video, I really appreciate the fact that the open world can now scale directly with our in-game characters, but if the encounters reward us with little to no XP and below average loot, then what's the point? Moving on, and I also wanted to test this theory that maybe the issue with no XP being gained from Wendigo was down to the fact that I had not finished the entire monster hunt, just one encounter out of the 10. So, for science, I hit the entire monster hunt on Apoc tier 25. I had ranked up a bit since the Wendigo recording. Now my thinking was that maybe the big XP would be gained once you turned in all 10 monsters with Noah and Trenchtown, and while I was taking down the monsters one by one, I also kept a tally of the Apoc tier gear I got to drop, both epic and legendary. Final score here, 10 monsters down, 13 epic Apoc pieces, 1 legendary Apoc piece, and noteworthy, 1 legendary non-Apoc piece. Not a good haul for gear overall, and once I turned in the trophies with Noah, I can tell you, no big chunk of XP hit my progression bar. But all was not lost because I did some testing here with Noah as well. First is that I can confirm that Noah does have Apoc level legendary gear in his reward pool when you turn in the trophies and collect your guaranteed legendary reward. The old trick of turning in all 10 monsters and then before exiting his dialogue menu, switching over to what are you selling and then shifting the transaction actually from buying to selling at the top of the screen still works, allowing you to pre-screen his rewards for you. Using this, I was able to see a lucky Ushanka legendary helmet Apoc tier waiting for me, along with some epic tier Apoc pieces, along with a bunch of other crap and standard gear I wasn't going to keep. Now the other trick of dashboarding from that menu, if you don't like what you see, is still in the game as well. Just messing around, I tried it out, ran back to Noah, turned in the monster trophies, collected my loot, and this time he was going to give me a non-Apoc waistcloth of the Borealis Monarch gear piece. So his legendary Apoc and non-Apoc final quest rewards all seem to be kind of mixed in there. Overall, not the best place to be farming loot and XP. So let's move on. 2 areas down, and now you know 2 areas to avoid if you are wanting good loot drops and big XP gains. So how about this third one, our old stomping grounds, the Expeditions. I booted up Archways of Enoch solo on Apoc tier 24, which puts you up against enemies on level 59, and according to the pre-expedition launch screen, has a 17% chance for both an epic or legendary drop to become Apoc level. There's also decent odds for legendary and epic tier loot to drop, and the final haul should net us around 62.1 thousand drop pod resources. Final results for this one, 1 Apoc legendary, 2 Apoc epic pieces, and a whole bunch of standard epic and rare pieces for mats, you know, crap I'm not going to keep. So in terms of outright loot quality and quantity, not good, again, but all is not lost with Expeditions. For outright Ascension level XP farming, they are not bad. I grabbed about 110,000 Ascension XP during my Archways clear, and at Ascension level 33, I need around 1.1 million to reach the next level. So, you know, if you're pressed for time and want to grab some quick Ascension XP, Expeditions are still a source. By the way, if you were just joining Worldslayer and don't know what Ascension levels are, think Diablo 3 with its Paragon system. As you are steadily earning points, you can place those points into one of 20 categories that will steadily gain your character better overall stats. Anyways, back to Expeditions, and besides Ascension XP, they are still dropping large amounts of drop pod resources, which you will of course need to purchase gear and weapons from Tiago, and to upgrade your gear as you progress. And trust me when I say that it gets crazy expensive the higher and higher your gear score becomes. Finally, Expeditions are not nearly as sweaty as our final farming activity, can be compressed into tight blocks of time, and they do benefit our character progression and resource reserves. So, you know, not a total write-off here, but not nearly the rewards our final activity can net you. Tarya Gratar. Yeah, even the name's pretty epic, but you know what? Don't let that scare you. It is totally soloable. I don't even know if that's a word. Anyway, it's going to net you the largest amount of everything. Resources, loot, XP, you name it. Now, what makes the trials unique is there are multiple ways to go about it. You can beeline straight through the map points, skipping the optional chambers and encounters, and just heading straight to those boss fights, of which there are 3, 4 if you do the final hidden catacombs encounter. Or you could take advantage of some of the optional encounters that are not on the straight and narrow path, but will feature, for the first time in Outriders history, targeted loot farming. Want a better chance of getting some sweet boots for your character? Enter the Trials main area, hang a right, and head over to the Proving Grounds. Now, if you look at your Trials map, it will show you what each of these optional troves will net you, but keep in mind, these take time. They could lead to deaths, of which you only have 3 to reach the end of the Trials, and I found them to be a bit iffy in terms of what you really gain. Still, good areas to grab XP and hone your skills. I'll let you decide on this one. If you decide to go straight to the bosses, you will eventually hit the Arbiter of the Worthy. Drop him as quickly as possible for a quick grab of loot, including a higher concentration of both Apoc, Epic, and Legendary gear. After you finish him off, a little more travel, another encounter out of the way, and you're going to reach boss number 2, Okriel the Traitor, aka the much better, interesting, and difficult version of Eye of the Storm encounter. Make it through his multi-stage encounter, which, by the way, I really enjoy, while avoiding taking too much time and getting him to his obliterate mechanic, not good for you. And anyways, you're going to grab all that sweet loot again. With Okriel out of the way and another smaller skirmish, you've now reached the Father Sanctum and the final boss, the Arbiter of Descent. Make it through this one, and like the previous End of the Eye of the Storm encounter, your first round of loot allows you to select from 3 random pieces that appear on your screen that are all Apoc tier and legendary, plus you get all the loot the Arbiter drops on the ground. Now this is where you get the very best the game has to offer. The best concentration of Apoc gear, both epic and legendary, and I like the fact that you get to select your first legendary. Plus, and you really need to pay attention to this one, it is from these bosses that you get the rarest and most important, the very lifeblood of the endgame content, the new material, Anomaly Extract. Now this is new and was added specifically for Worldslayer, and it is hard to find. Comes in small amounts when you find it, and it's going to be the very bane of your existence, because without Anomaly Extract, you can't purchase Apoc gear from the vendors, but more importantly, you can't improve a piece of Apoc gear. So, you want to take that level 59 pair of perfectly god-rolled Apoc legendary gloves up to level 60? Well, now it requires titanium, drop pod resources, and a huge amount of Anomaly Extract. And you know, 9 times out of 10, that is the material that will cause you not to be able to afford the upgrade. Drop pod resources, yeah, we know where to get them in bulk. The game throws titanium and leather at us, but Anomaly Extract makes the end game world go round, and you will need a ton of it. So where can we get it? Well, if you loot and then break down any Apoc tiered piece of gear that's epic or legendary, you will get a small amount of Anomaly Extract. I also got something like 39 from the end drop pod of my level 24 expedition clear, but you know, the 2 places you're going to be able to find it in bulk, and let's use that term very loosely because you will never have enough of this stuff. Anyways, the 2 places you're going to be able to find it are from the chests at the end of the smaller skirmishes in the trials, but the bigger hauls are from those boss kills. That means the 2 Arbiters and Okriel the Traitor. You could also tack on the 3rd Arbiter of the Dusk from that final optional Catacombs encounter. You have to kill these 3 or 4 bosses over and over to stock up enough Anomaly Extract to get your gear upgraded, and along the way, you know, you hopefully bag that perfect piece of loot. I mean, one can hope, right? Now, it all sounds very easy in theory. Finish the main story campaign, hit the trials, crush those bosses, and grab that loot. But in reality, beating the trials, especially on a lower level character, even solo, that you don't have a great build on yet, is not easy to do. I was first able to solo the trials when I was in the lower 20s for Apoc levels, and believe me, I'm not some sort of gaming genius. It took time. I died a bunch. But I learned the mechanics, and after a bit of leveling and rejigging my builds, I was able to do it. Now, there's also another cool mechanic to the trials, and it's the fact that you do have 3 lives. So, if you can reach the Arbiter of Descent with those 3 lives intact, you can then farm him over and over until your lives are spent, which should be 3 times. Just kill him, grab your loot, open up your menu, and return to the lobby. Once in the lobby, select Return to Game, and it's just going to spawn you right back into the game just before Father's Chamber. Just enter his chamber, go kill the Arbiter again, rinse and repeat. Now remember that this boss has the best and highest concentration of Apoc, Epic, and Legendaries. He also drops the best amounts of Anomaly extract and can net you big Ascension and Apoc tier XP gains. So going and doing this is a no-brainer. And yes, this entire experience can be soloed despite some incorrect information being circulated out there in the public. The enemies do scale upwards for larger parties, so they will be able to tank much more damage, but you know, that's about it. I've done both solo and party clears, and they both have their merits. If you are wanting a group experience, and you can't find one, and don't dare hit that in-game matchmaker, my Discord link is in the video description, where you can find party members using our LFG function, and the whole thing just works so much more efficiently. Hopefully this video helped you out just a bit, and here's a quick recap. Remember to steer clear of individual monster hunt targets for XP farming, and the loot drops are also pretty dismal. The entire monster hunt was able to produce a few Apoc pieces, and the old view before you accept mechanic still works with Noah. And like I said, he does have Apoc legendaries in his loot pool. Expeditions net you large drop pod resource hauls, some possibility of better loot drops, and some base resources, along with just being a decent place to Ascension XP farm without all the sweatiness of the trials. And Tarya, Gratar, especially the 3 boss encounters, will give you the best chance of grabbing the new Apoc Legendary and Epic gear pieces. They have the best Anomaly extract drops, and I don't see videos covering this because this is super important for endgame. And you're also going to find the final Arbiter of Descent can be farmed a few times as long as you reach him with all your respawns intact. As a bonus, there's also that 4th Arbiter, the Arbiter of the Dusk, located in the Catacombs, which will only reveal itself if you have defeated the final boss, the Arbiter of Descent. Now, if you finish your original Trials run and you just want to hop straight into a new one, enter the first common area of the Trials, and you're just going to hear this rumbling, which is the Catacombs entrance opening up straight across the area from you. This encounter is pretty straightforward. Kill the baddies, reach the Arbiter, same circle with ghost axe mechanics flying all over the place. Anyways, kill him, grab your loot, and then begin your new Trials boss beeline clear straight from there. I like to begin with this Arbiter of the Dusk because, you know what, he does drop materials, both gear and weaponry, and that precious Anomaly extract, plus he's not that difficult to down. As I find and test out more potential farming spots and mechanics, I will post those in future videos. I also continue to farm on my main character, and hopefully, time willing, will be posting my build guide videos again very soon. Remember that I am not a full-time content creator, so just grinding daily is not possible for me, so please be patient. In case you aren't yet a sub, please smash that sub button and make sure to ring the bell to stay up to date on all my latest uploads. If you could take a few seconds more to rate and or share this video, it would also be greatly appreciated. Remember to find and follow me on Twitch, as I am a partnered streamer over there. You can also follow me on Twitter, where I post daily. And of course, I've already mentioned it, you are welcome to join our ever-growing Outriders community on our community Discord server. Links to all my socials in the video description below. Until the next one, this is Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear, signing off.